The blame game is the official pastime of the internet, but you pair that with a thunderdome of delusion that is American politics, you're going to see more finger-pointing than Chris Christie at Baskin-Robbins. And right on schedule, in the aftermath of a midterm that everyone from mainstream polls to punditry predicted would likely look redder than the New York Times editorial board, and instead turned out to be just another midterm of roughly average proportion and importance, let the buck passing commence! To hear the chiclet brain homunculi in media tell it, it's evidence of Trump's waning popularity. This despite Trump polling ahead not only of the asterisk president, but the entire prospective primary field for Republicans in 2024. At least he is in polls that don't have sample sizes so small a military sharpshooter couldn't hit him in 3 tries. To say nothing of the fact that a fuck of a lot of things were on the ballot in the midterms, precisely 0 of them named Donald Trump. Or that beyond his perfect primary endorsement record, the final figures shake out to something like, of 200 plus candidate endorsements, a little less than 30 didn't fucking pan out. For a panoply of wildly varied reasons, from feckless campaigns to lack of campaign support from the McConnell-McCarthy wing of the GOP, even as they fired nearly $200 million donor dollars into a Florida governor's race where Ron DeSantis was leading by 20 titty fucking points since, March? Could Trump have been a factor? Possibly, though both exit and preliminary polls, even among Democrats, don't really bear that theory out. And it's worth pointing out that in the case of Herschel Walker, dude was going down in flames in the polls prior to the Don's endorsement. And look, if we hold to the establishment's sophistic argument that Trump should have stayed the piping fresh fuck out of that race, other than his endorsement, the Don sorta did. Perhaps it's time to consider that the GOP can do better than a retired former athlete with the public speaking skills of fucking Rain Man.
Well, first of all, this election is more than Herschel Walker. This election is about the people.
All of these multifarious possibilities can be debated, dissected, and hopefully fucking compensated for in the future. What is beyond but fucking debate is the sky-smashing, bedrock-pulverizing, ear-splitting stupidity of the oh-so-many status simps on our own side, whether out of sincere adherence to age-old idiocies or through conversion to collectivism via frustration in the absence of what they construe to be political solutions, who now unironically advocate a minor variation of the self-same brand of authoritarian socialism that they're pissed to be fucking losing to at present. As if this even needs to be said. Commies versus fascies is the literal fucking opposite of America first. It didn't even start in fucking America, for one. We have our own homegrown political binary, and it ain't Mussolini versus Mao. It's Hamilton versus DJ Jazzy Jefferson. Centralized government statism versus small government states' rights. No one who imports and adopts a European political binary of fascism versus communism can credibly claim to be America first. Period. No one is surrendering harder to the statist left than they are. Think about it. Look, if you and I debate the merits of small versus large government, and I lose that debate, aw shucks, I lost the debate, better bone up next time and win the fucking day. But if I consent to be called conservative, a term with backward-looking and antiquarian implications despite my proposed form of government literally fucking never being implemented before in this country or any other, and call my opponent progressive for adhering to a centralized socialistic philosophy hundreds of years and fuckloads of failures deep into its existence, why the hell would we even need to convene a debate? I just conceded your entire premise without once opening my yap. Gang, I love me a good Kanye meme, and watching Alex Jones genuinely gobsmacked by a guest was 24-karat comedy. But Kanye ain't fighting the left. He's surrendering to them. It's at times like these I'm reminded of the words of Vladimir Lenin. The outbreak of a socialist revolution in one country will cause the others to imitate it, or so to strengthen the proletariat as to prevent its national bourgeoisie from attempting any armed intervention. Oh shit, my bad! That was Mussolini, the former head of the Milan chapter of the Italian Socialist Party, former editor of Avanti, a newspaper which even to this day remains the organ of record for the Italian Socialist Party, former avowed Marxist, and oh yeah, inventor of fucking fascism. Do not let these dipshits enlist you in their Euro-trash socialist civil war. Because even if they weren't ideologically odious, it would still be strategically fucking moronic. Look, There were resistance movements in Soviet Russia just as there are today in communist China, and it was and is the delight of despotic regimes to, with giggle-pissing glee, corral those resistance movements into extreme, unpopular courses of action which they can control. This is classic Sun Tzu, people. The expert in battle moves the enemy and is not moved by him. The practical extrapolation on this being, box your enemies in on 3 sides, offer them a way out that you can control, and then get them there. Crushing all your enemies is too costly, and the enemies of Soviet Russia had to be demoralized, marginalized, accounted for. The apotheosis of this approach was the gulags, which, despite being characterized as murder camps, were in function a place where your political enemies go to crush fucking rocks. Not even Stalin murdered every single one of his enemies. For most, it was enough to call him a kulak and leave him angry, impotent, and out of the way. If you insert that black pill suppository and embrace the Europeanized premises of your enemy, you will have done half their job for them. And if you afford it more than a passing glance, I think you'll find it's more of a midnight blue pill to begin with. The establishment and mainstream media have fired fuckloads of cash to cultivate the illusion of a vast, marginal far right in this country that conforms to their European political paradigm. Why the fuck would you ease their way by adopting it for free? Look how much money they lost in 2016. Fuck. Look at the laundering operation they were running through FTX in 2022. You think they did that because Biden's just too damn powerful and popular? Or do you think it's because they have to take such extraordinary measures because their ordained fucking frontman has the unbridled popularity of poo in a pizza box? Hell, even perennial fucking fence sitter Joe Rogan went so far as to predict, and I quote, the 2022 midterms are gonna look like the elevator scene from The fucking Shining. These third world elections aren't evidence of power, they're evidence of its erosion. And only you can snatch defeat from the jaws of eventual victory by misconstruing the reality of the situation, self-marginalizing, and calling for ever more fascistic remedies. Because here's the thing. That didn't even fucking work in fascist countries, fucknut. Half the reason Hitler's war effort went to shit is he had no goddamn oil. And don't even get me started on Musso fielding an army outfitted with equipment that dated back to the Byzantine Empire. All you had to do to sink an Italian battleship was put it in water, and fascist economics are the reason. More to the point, how in howling hell, in a post-Patriot Act America, there are still so motherfucking many mongoloids who fail to recognize that conferring illimitable authority upon ever more despotic Europeanized governments in some nebulous, unenforceable asseveration that once assumed said power will be weaponized against your enemies, but no one the fuck else, is either a mystery for the ages or further proof that the public has the long-term memory of John Fetterman after 5 rounds with Mike Tyson. It's not that your status so-called solutions can be hijacked by leering leftists and aspiring authoritarians. It's that they're sort of kind of fucking designed to be. And no, habitual regurgitation of the phrase vote harder is not a counter-argument, you status semen slurping cuckolds, because thanks to the founders, voting is not the primary method of enacting political change in this country, particularly at the federal level. Elections are managed locally. Power, in many ways, still flows upward from the state level, not downward from the fucking feds. You don't get to ignore the local elections where the actual decisions are made, up to and including election security, and then claim to lack political solutions simply because Trump wasn't elected fucking king. He was never gonna single-handedly solve a problem your ignorance of local affairs fucking created. Capiche? You're not powerless. You're fucking feckless. Enjoy a 6-course meal on my dick. 6.5 if it isn't cold. I'm Razor Fist. God fucking speed.